Do something intelligent!
G'day viewers, Fless here. I brought the dirty D-Max up to Charlotte's Pass in the Snowy Mountains. This afternoon I'm going to walk up to the top of Mt Kosciuszko. It's about 10 kilometres. I'm going to camp up there overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to finish off the main range walk, which is about another 13 or 18 kilometres depending on how many side tracks you take. So if you're interested in coming here yourself and camping up on the mountain, well, come along with me, watch the video, and hopefully you'll get a few tips. At 2,228 metres, Mt Kosciuszko is the highest mountain on the mainland of Australia. It's located about 200 kilometres southwest of Canberra. A vehicle permit is required to enter the area, with a toll booth located on Kosciuszko Road before you get to the ski fields. It costs $17 a day during summer, and camping is free. The weather can change rapidly up high in the snowies. It can quickly change from cool to quite cold. Even in midsummer, nighttime temperatures rarely rise above 10 degrees. I've visited the mountain a few times, including once on my mountain bike. The whole area is covered in snow in winter, but there are still patches of the white stuff around right up to Christmas. This overnight trip was done in mid-March, so the snow was gone. For this hike, you have to park your car at the end of Kosciuszko Road at an elevation of 1,830 metres. This is where the 10-kilometre summit trail starts and finishes. You have the option of returning from Kosciuszko via the main range hike, which is a challenging 3 kilometres longer. The trail can be done in either direction. On this trip I'm taking the summit trail first and overnight camping right on the top. My backpack weighed about 13 kilos, which included a tent, air mattress, food, water, clothes and camping gear. This was really too heavy, but it was hard to decide what to leave behind. In the end, I really needed less water and more clothes. The dominating view on the hike from Charlotte's Pass to Kosciuszko is the very headwaters of the Snowy River. While snow gums line the path for the first kilometre or so, you soon reach the tree line, where only grasses and very small flowering plants can survive. The path crosses the Snowy River at about the 6 kilometre mark. This is a good spot to fill your water bottles. While it's probably quite safe to drink it straight, if you aren't used to creek water, just add some purification tablets. In fact, there are plenty of spots where you can find clean water along the whole trail. From here to the summit is where the majority of the climbing occurs, with some sections of about 10% grade. At around 7 kilometres you'll pass Seaman's Hut. This was built originally as a shelter for skiers after 2 of them perished in a blizzard in 1928. These days the door is unlocked in winter to provide refuge for campers or hikers who get caught out in bad weather. At around 8 kilometres you reach Rawson's Pass and some public toilets. I arrived at the summit about an hour before sunset. The hike took 3 hours, including a few rests along the way. Camping on the summit isn't easy. There's very little flat ground and it's covered with rocks. Slightly better places to pitch a tent can be found away from the very summit, but you must be careful not to camp in the catchments of the alpine lakes. While the sunset was magnificent, the weather was freezing and windy. Once it became dark, the temperature dropped to just above zero, but with the increasingly strong southwesterly breeze, the wind chill factor really took effect. Cooking dinner on a small Methos stove was quite a challenge. My one-man tent was barely adequate. It did keep the wind out, but the downside was that I had lots of condensation on the inside of the walls. By around midnight, the wind was really howling. Sunrise couldn't come fast enough, and it was magnificent. After thawing out a bit, it was time to unpack my gear in a strong wind and start the return journey along the main range track. 13 kilometres back to Charlotte's Pass goes over quite a few high points. At this altitude there is 6% less air than at sea level. That means there's 6% less oxygen, and you can definitely feel it on the 20% gradient up Crothers Peak. Much of this track is on the northern side of slopes with magnificent views of the Western Falls wilderness. At the 5 kilometre mark you scramble along a narrow section with the picturesque Albino Lake beneath you. After climbing down from Crothers Peak you come to a resting spot with a side track to Blue Lake. I was pretty stuffed by that time, but it's probably worth the 500 metre trip to get a closer look. With 1 kilometre to go you cross the Snowy River again. There's no bridge and you have to use stepping stones to get across. There's plenty of opportunity for everything to go wrong and end up very wet and very cold. The last 900 metres of this trek is the hardest. It's a good paved path but it's very steep. This hike is only suitable for people who are reasonably fit and are seeking adventure. Overnight camping adds a lot of complexity. The whole trip can be done in a day with just a light pack. So unless you enjoy freezing conditions and testing your endurance, that's probably the best option. I hope this video has shown you what it's like to hike to the top of Australia and it's inspired you to do it yourself sometime.